We idolize the tech heroes of this period of the technological era. It's like a rock star world for the industry's leaders. Millions of people around the globe hear their announcements of cutting-edge technologies. One of the first tech heroes was the Serbian Nikola Tesla, a man with nearly 300 patents and the man behind such groundbreaking inventions as the alternating current. Engineer and scientist Nikola Tesla, a Serbian-American, pioneered significant improvements to how electricity is produced, transmitted, and used, pioneered the development of AC generation and transmission technology, and created the first alternating current mode. In contrast to Thomas Edison, his main competitor and previous employer, he never succeeded in making his enormous discoveries into long-term financial success, despite his popularity and esteem. Tesla was born on July 10, 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia, where he arrived during a lightning bolt. The mother reportedly said, "No, he will be a kid of light," to the midwife's supposed prediction that the child would be a child of darkness halfway through birth. His popularity fluctuated throughout his lifetime, but it recently reached a pinnacle, and he is no more than simply a cult figure. With his foresight into the future of technology, Tesla has become a real oracle of our time. One of the most newsworthy tech businesses today bears his name. Some of Nikola Tesla's incredible forecasts for the future actually came true. As a young child, he began to see visions and light flashes that rendered him unable to tell the difference between reality and his imagination. That didn't change. The vision had given him the ability to visualize innovations in such detail that he didn't even need to sketch them out. In a 1919 article, he described how the designs were refined in his head. He once commented that his device always performs as he had imagined it would, and that the experiment turns out precisely as he had intended. There hasn't been a single exception in 20 years. Tesla credits his mother with sparkling his interest in inventions. He designed several little home appliances in her spare time. She passed on to her son the gift of eidetic memory, which enabled her to accurately remember an image from memory. Tesla's father was a priest who wanted him to follow in his footsteps, but he had a passion for engineering. As a result, his father pledged to send him to engineering school if he miraculously survived cholera as a teenager. He relocated to Austria to enroll in the Technical College of Graz, where he allegedly put in early morning shifts to 11 p.m. Professors worried that he might pass out from exhaustion because he did this every day. Tesla had a brilliant mind. He could perform calculations in his head and spoke 8 languages. He was a good student at the beginning, but he refused to finish. Early graduation from school allowed Tesla to travel across Europe before settling in Budapest, where he worked as an electrician for a telephone company. Tesla's prediction of data transmission without wires came true with the invention of the internet in the early 1990s. Numerous theories and designs centered on wireless data transmission resulted from Nikola Tesla's obsession with the subject. Tesla wanted to go further than Guglielmo Marconi, who was the first to sound letters in Morse code across the Atlantic. He boldly asserted that one day, wireless technology would allow the global transmission of music, video, documents, and telephone signals. While he never succeeded in doing this during his lifetime, his prediction came true in the early 1990s with the development of the internet. Tesla also predicted the future in an interview with Collier's magazine in 1926, based on his concept of technology that could transmit images, music, and even video across the globe. He coined the term vest pocket technology. Tesla may have foreseen the development of the smartphone nearly a century before it was created. We shall be able to witness and hear events just as though we were present, he said in a reference to the technology. Tesla showed off a wirelessly controlled teleautomaton in 1898 at an electrical exhibition in Madison Square Garden, New York. Today, most people refer to this device as a remote-controlled toy boat. He astounded onlookers with this new technology harnessing the power of wireless communication, robotics, and logic gate. His 4-foot-long antenna-equipped boat circled a dot of water, and flashing lights gave it the appearance of being primarily magical. Tesla, who thought of various uses for remote-controlled machines in military mines, saw the potential application of this boat as a torpedo. Our homes are filled with numerous remote-controlled gadgets, and the military has extensively used long-range weapons like drones and missiles. Many people thought a tiny monkey was controlling it from the inside. Still, it was close to the advancements in drone technology we've witnessed in recent years, leading them to believe there would one day be a place for remotely controlled machines. He boldly declared, "The progress of the whole human race is regulated by the power available," alluding to his conviction that providing free electricity would benefit those struggling with invasion and poverty. He started constructing a Wardenclyffe wireless communication tower on the American East Coast in 1901 to send energy across the Atlantic. Unfortunately, it never finished its power plan, and the early internet for the world came crashing down in 1902, quite literally. Tesla's investors at JP Morgan weren't happy about offering everything for free, so to recover the money from the scrap, the tower was blown up, and the world was forced to wait an additional 90 years for a public World Wide Web. The Tower of Power was partially built in 1904 in Shoreham, Long Island, New York, thanks to Tesla's work on a power generator that could transmit energy wirelessly. It had a spherical top that was 68 feet in diameter and 187 feet high. Curiously, the United States destroyed the tower in 1917 of the rumor that German spies were using it. Nikola Tesla predicted electric cars and autopilot, which he described in an interview as early as 1898. "I proposed to representatives of a large manufacturing concern the construction and public exhibition of an automobile carriage, which left to itself would perform a great variety of operations involving something akin to judgment." Tesla envisioned planes that needed no fuel. This concept stems from the capability of long-distance energy transmission without wires. Wyatt explained that the propulsion of flying machines, which won't require any fuel and won't be constrained by the same rules that currently apply to airplanes and airships, will likely prove to be the most valuable use of wireless energy. He articulated that people could ride from New York to Europe in a few hours. In the latter years of his life, Tesla worked on a particle beam weapon that he believed would end all wars. It would be so strong that it could easily take out anything the enemy threw at you, even from a great distance away. War would be pointless if such a weapon existed in every nation. The idea of mutually assured destruction was the cornerstone of the Cold War because the sides with nuclear weapons dared not attack one another even though the ray was never built and the plans for it mysteriously vanished. In a 1933 interview, he elaborated on some concepts that seemed absurd. This particular invention would more closely resemble an MRI in a modern setting because it can perform some of the functions Tesla is referring to here. "I expect to photograph thoughts in 1893 while engaged in certain investigations. I became convinced that a definite image, form, and thought must be reflex action, produce a corresponding image on the retina which might be read by a suitable apparatus now. If it is true that a thought reflects on an image on the retina, it is a mere question of illuminating the same property and taking photographs and then using the ordinary methods which are available to project the image on a screen. If this can be done successfully, then the objects imagined by a person would be clearly reflected on the screen as they are formed. And in this way, every thought of the individual could be read our minds, would then indeed be like open books." At one instant, Tesla gave the bizarre prediction of flying cars. He said he foresees the development of the flying machine exceeding that of the automobile and expects Mr. Ford to make significant contributions towards this progress. Tesla further said that the problem of parking automobiles and furnishing separate roads for commercial and pleasure traffic will be solved. He said, "Belted parking towers will arise in our large cities, and the roads will be multiplied through sheer necessity or finally rendered unnecessary when civilization exchanges wheels for wings." He relocated to Paris in 1882 to work for Thomas Edison's electric company's French division. He began installing indoor lighting, but after the managers became aware of his abilities, they hired him to do more challenging work, such as designing and constructing dynamos and motors. He soon found himself traveling across Europe, troubleshooting problems at other Edison branches. Tesla's manager extended an employment offer to him at the Edison Machine Works in New York City. 2 years later, in 1884, he agreed, but his money was stolen on the boat ride, so he only had 4 cents in his pocket when he arrived in America. Tesla at first thought highly of Edison. Edison was also impressed by Tesla, later saying, "I have had many hardworking assistants, but you take the cake." This mutual admiration, however, didn't last for the two men, who disagreed on the best way to deliver and contain electricity. Edison preferred direct current, a system in which the flow of electric charge is unidirectional. Tesla was more fond of alternating current, in which the electric charge regularly reverses direction. Alternating current AC can transmit power and provide more power, which explains why direct current DC powers more compact devices like flashlights, while AC powers our homes and other large appliances. However, since he held all the patents for direct current, Edison didn't care about AC because it might have reduced the sales of DC regardless of how the story ended. Tesla quit and left to start his own electric company the following year in 1885. Tesla created an alternating current-powered induction motor in 1887. The motor was also the most effective method of converting electrical energy into mechanical power. Elon Musk's Tesla cars, which bear his name, are powered by a variation of it. George Westinghouse, a significant player in the electric industry, was drawn to Tesla's AC motor after he patented it and displayed it the following year at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. Westinghouse realized that Tesla's AC motor might be just what he needed to finish his alternating current system and compete against Edison's DC system. As a result, Tesla paid Westinghouse $60,000 in exchange for stock and royalties to license the AC motor patents. Westinghouse employed him as a consultant for $2,000 per month, which is more than $50,000 per month in today's dollars. The battle of the current started when Edison made a concerted effort to tarnish Tesla and Westinghouse. He fully funded the electric chair to demonstrate how dangerous alternating current was to make its case. Edison's company also publicly tortured animals. It electrocuted Topsy, a circus elephant, in 1903 and made a movie called Electrocute an Elephant. Despite Edison's schemes, Westinghouse and Tesla were successful. In 1893, they bid less than Edison and his newly established business General Electric to light the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. The 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus' discovery of America was commemorated with the first ever all-electric fair. The 27 million attendees could see that AC was their way of the future. They won over Edison's General Electric once more to construct Niagara Falls' first alternating current power plant, continuing their winning streak. The hydroelectric power plant was a huge success and contributed to Buffalo, New York, being illuminated. The facility's construction also marked Tesla's entry into the field of renewable energy. Today, his statue can be seen standing at Niagara Falls. Direct current was being phased out due to Westinghouse and Tesla winning the war of current. However, there were issues. The company owned by Westinghouse was out of money and eventually backed up a $10 million debt. To save the business, he went to Tesla in 1897 and asked if his royalties could be decreased. Tesla tore up his contract because he was so moved by compassion for his friend when no one else at Westinghouse believed in Tesla, and he appreciated that fact. If Tesla voluntarily turned down $12 million in royalties, which are now worth over $300 million, he probably would have become the world's richest man and the first to have a net worth of over $1 billion if he had held onto those royalties over time. Tesla received $261,000 from Westinghouse for the unrestricted use of his AC patents. This is equivalent to $60 million today. Tesla established his financial independence with their money and launched several new New York projects. He hosted visits from the rich and famous, including Mark Twain, a close friend and one of the greatest American authors of all time. This was his period of many inventions: the Tesla coil, A device that can generate a significant amount of high-voltage electricity is among his best-known creations. He found that he could send and receive strong radio signals when the coils resonated simultaneously. Still, tragedy struck when Tesla was about to transmit his first radio signal. In 1895, a fire destroyed his laboratory, and he lost years of research and tools. It took Tesla 2 years before the radio was the patent application subject. His life spiraled downward after the fire, which would mark a turning point. At the same time, Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian businessman, was working on the radio in England. He attempted to obtain US patent rights, but was denied because his invention was too similar to Tesla. However, everything changed in 1901 when Marconi used 17 of Tesla's patents to transmit the first transatlantic radio message, ushering in a new era, and Edison decided to support Marconi financially. Tesla had no issue with Marconi's accomplishments. Still, the US Patent Office abruptly changed its mind in 1904. It gave Marconi a patent for the development of the radio. The solid financial backing Marconi received may help explain why this choice was made, even though no explanation has ever been provided. It was only because of Tesla's work that Marconi won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1911. Tesla was enraged and filed a lawsuit against Marconi. Years of court proceedings resulted in a settlement in his favor that was reached only after his death. The rest of Tesla's career suffered due to that radio incident. For instance, Tesla was driven to make wireless communication a reality and constructed the enormous Wondercliff Tower wireless transmission tower in Long Island, New York. He pictured the world where he would communicate wirelessly, but many of his inventions were impossible to construct. There was the wireless transmission of electricity, the camera, and the death ray. He also wanted to make an earthquake machine that could create artificial earthquakes. Scientists could have used it to find essential minerals inside the earth. Once more, he was far ahead of his time. However, financial backers needed more confidence in his project and withdrew. Marconi's radio invention, Tesla was left bankrupt as a result. In 1905, he was forced to give up on his visionary project and eventually lost Wondercliff Tower to foreclosure. Tesla's mental state started deteriorating in 1933. He spent his final 10 years in the New Yorker hotel. He was a consultant for Westinghouse Corporation, which also paid for his lodging. Despite living rent-free, he passed away in debt. Despite all the struggles he fought against his entire life and the accomplishments he achieved, Tesla's last message to his mother was rather grim and sorrowful. Part of his letter from 1892 reads, "My dear mother, I feel sad and dreary when I think of you. I don't know how, but I feel that you are not well. I wish I could be beside you now, mother, to bring you a glass of water. All these years that I had spent in the service of mankind brought me nothing but insults and humiliation. This morning I woke up early just before dawn because I had heard something that I've been hearing through my dreams for quite some time now. I hear this voice that sang some beautiful chant, lament, or even prayer in Moorish. When it came to my senses, I realized this voice came from everywhere, and it was impossible to determine whether it was from within. I'm afraid of losing my mind. I cannot confine this to Dr. Lionel because I don't trust him anymore. I heard that he visited Mr. Edison 2 weeks ago." Another letter he wrote after his mother passed away just days later said, "This letter will never get to your mother. I don't know why I write it to you when you cannot read it. Rest in peace, mother, and please forgive me for choosing paths that led me away from you. I cannot even be there for your funeral. I read the telegram that informed me of your death and despise people who weren't ready to understand 2 years ago that electricity can be transferred without wires. Now they have seen it, but they won't use it for centuries to come because someone burned my downtown laboratory to the ground with all my formulas and writings in it. They suspect of Mr. Edison. I became so indifferent, I cannot even recognize myself. I would maybe feel sad before, but not anymore because I am now sure that someone is keeping my patent under control, that my discovery isn't mine at all, and finally, that mankind was not ready for it. I know that someone is overseeing everything and has a plan of their own, which is probably why I am indifferent." On January 7, 1943, a maid of the New Yorker hotel entered room 3327 and found the death of an 86-year-old man who had been there for the previous 10 years. Tesla passed away alone and penniless. He ate warm milk and crackers and dedicated his life to outside pigeon feeding. One of the greatest inventors in history slipped into oblivion and died with no money in his pocket. Tesla may have been extremely unfortunate at times. That is not the real cause of his financial ruin. The key justification is that Tesla was not a capitalist. Tesla took decisions such as giving up his AC motor royalty payments that persons with better commercial judgment would not have made. He didn't care about money. He was interested in how science would progress humanity. However, Tesla could change the world as he had intended. The individual who served as Elon Musk's business model inspiration is becoming more well-known. A man whose innovations, in part thanks to Musk's firm, will power to the entire planet. It was appropriate for Tesla's mother to refer to him as a child of light, because Tesla is accountable for today's modern society. That is our video for today. We hope you like it. Share all of your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Well, that's all for now. This is Big Tech Media. See you again tomorrow. Keep in mind to like, share, and subscribe.